At some point, you decided that you were someone who needed to work on yourself. You don't remember exactly when, but at some point, it became a given that there was something to improve, something to release, some version of yourself that was closer to how you should be. And since then, there has been a quiet project running in the background. You notice it in small ways. The slight dissatisfaction after a conversation that went well, but not quite right. The way you evaluate your own reactions. The habit of checking, mid-experience, whether you are present enough, calm enough, free enough. And underneath all of that, so familiar you barely notice it anymore. A picture of how it would feel when the project was done. When you had finally gotten there. Thich Nhat Hanh told his students something that is easy to hear and difficult to actually see, that the idea of happiness you are carrying might be the very thing standing between you and it, not the problems in your life, not the attachments you already know about, the picture itself, the one you've been moving toward. And the strange thing is, that picture is not neutral. It is doing something right now. As you listen to this, there is a story Thich Nhat Hanh tells about a farmer who came to the Buddha in distress. His cows had run away. His sesame crop had been destroyed by insects, and he told the Buddha he couldn't go on living. The Buddha listened, and when the farmer left to search elsewhere, he turned to his monks and said something quiet. You are lucky because you have no cows to lose. It's easy to hear that as a lesson about possessions, about simplifying your life. But Thich Nhat Hanh is pointing at something closer. The things we have decided are essential to our happiness. Once the mind makes that decision, it organizes itself around protecting them. Every plan, every practice, every attempt at inner work happens inside a structure built around keeping the cows safe or finding them when they wander. You probably already know what some of yours are. The relationship, the work situation, the health concern. Those are visible. You can name them. But Thich Nhat Hanh says something in these teachings that passes quickly if you're not paying attention. That your idea of happiness can itself become the obstacle. That you may be imprisoned by your own notion of what freedom feels like. That quiet project running in the background, the monitoring, the checking, that project has a picture attached to it, a picture of how you will be when the work is done, calmer, less reactive, more present, and that picture is a cow. One of the most persistent ones, because it doesn't look like an attachment. It looks like clarity. It looks like you are finally moving towards something real. The slight sense that this video might help you get somewhere. The listening that has a direction to it. That's the picture operating. It arrived with you when you pressed play. At some point, the project of working on yourself became its own kind of habit, and like most habits, it stopped being visible as a choice. It became the background condition, the thing you do with discomfort, with restlessness, with the feeling that something isn't quite right. You turn toward it. You investigate. You look for the pattern, the root, the thing underneath the thing, and there is always something underneath the thing. Every time you sit with a difficult feeling and try to understand it, there is something managing the process, something that decides when the understanding is sufficient, something that evaluates whether progress is being made, something that knows what resolution would look like. And that something is working from the picture, the same picture from before, the one of how you will be when the work is finally done. Thich Nhat Hanh says that happiness cannot exist without freedom. and that freedom means freedom from your own concepts, including the concept of what it means to be free. He says people remain imprisoned for decades while holding tightly to the idea of letting go, mistaking the map for the territory, the picture of the field for the field itself. The cow they cannot see is the map they drew. The investigation is trying to arrive somewhere that it is also preventing. The mind looking for freedom is the same mind that decided freedom was somewhere other than here, and it brings that decision into every moment of looking. The part of you listening to this and quietly asking, is this going anywhere? Is this the one that will finally make it clear? That question is the project still running, still checking, still holding the picture up against the present moment, and finding the present moment slightly insufficient. And what makes it genuinely hard to see is that the project feels like care, the monitoring feels like presence, the evaluation feels like discernment. When the mind checks whether it is calm enough, that checking feels like the opposite of grasping. It feels like awareness. So the cow continues under the name of the path. Thich Nhat Hanh saw this clearly enough to say it plainly, that you may have followed one path with all your strength, and in doing so, kept 1,000 other paths closed. That the certainty about the direction is part of what keeps you walking in it, even when the walking is what's exhausting you. There is a moment, it doesn't happen by trying, when something in that structure becomes visible as a structure. When the picture is seen as a picture, the project is still there, the habits are still there, but something has shifted in how they appear. They look less like the root and more like what has been in the way. And then, almost immediately, something else happens. The mind takes that shift and does something with it. It files it, labels it, places it somewhere on the map of progress. I saw the picture. I recognize the pattern. That's good. That means something is working, and in doing so, the picture reappears under a new name, the picture of someone who has finally started to see clearly. The question is whether that movement can be noticed too, or whether it happens too quickly in the space between one thought and the next, before anything has a chance to look. And yet here you are, still listening. The project may still be running, probably is, and something is also just here, receiving these words without needing to do anything with them. Both things at the same time, without conflict. Thich Nhat Hanh described the moon traveling across the sky, completely free, not practicing freedom, not working toward it, just moving, with nothing held. He used it as an image of what happiness looks like when it isn't being pursued, when it simply arrives because there is space for it to arrive. That image doesn't instruct anything. It just sits there, next to the other image, the one you came in with. Somewhere in the gap between those two images, something can be noticed. The breath is still happening. The room is still there. Whatever sounds are present, they arrived without being invited, and they'll leave the same way. None of this was organized by the project. None of it is moving toward a better version of itself. The mind will find its next thing. The project will resume. The picture will reappear. And all of that is ordinary. Some of it may now have edges. You can see where it begins. Or the project has already filed this moment as insight and moved on. Both are possible, and neither of them changes what was just noticed. If this is still alive in you, there's more on this channel, the same kind of looking, pointed in other directions.